I'll be honest, ladies and gentlemen, these are going to be your five things we learned from the game, but I'm very, very disappointed, man. Like, it's just infuriating watching Manchester United. After 24 days you wait, I've been counting down since the Bournemouth game, looking forward to this game. I thought it was an opportunity, United to get some points, and it was just not what we expected to see. Now, these are obviously going to be your five biggest things that we learned from the game. We'll have a conversation, a few individuals, the team, and much more. So don't forget, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. But let's get into it. The first thing we learned, no cohesion, whether that's from the defence, the midfield, and the attack. Like, each block, there was no togetherness, there was no cohesion. And that did cost Manchester United early on. If it wasn't for Le Mans, we could have been 2 or 3-0 down early on. And United were just sloppy, and there was no communication. The passing was poor. Whether that is simple 5-yard pass, everything would be wrong. There was no intensity shown by the team. There's moments where the fans are urging Ugarte, urging Bruno to take the ball forward, and it just wasn't happening. Leeds' game plan was fantastic. They got at Manchester United from minute one, and United paid the price. It very easily could have been 4-0 at half time. There were so many chances. You look at Martinez saving the one at the end from Tanaka. You look at the save from Lamens. There were other chances in there as well. Where they should have scored. And I think United, there's a lot to learn from that. And I don't want to hear excuses. Yes, I talked about yesterday how it's 24 days. But United knew it was going to be 24 days before it started anyway. So they should have done something in place, whether that's getting a few friendlies, doing something, because there was no rhythm there. Listen, forget the team selection. I'm not really fussed about that. Yes, you could argue and Burma should have been in for Ahmad or Sesko. Dalot should have come in. But those 11 players on the pitch were capable enough to do a job. And they didn't. And I think that cohesion, that togetherness was not there. And that could have been well down to United missing Maguire and Mainoo, and I genuinely think it was. Martinez now suspended for 3 games due to violent conduct, so he's going to be out. So who comes in for him is still up for grabs. De Ligt, again, we don't know where he's going to be. Hopefully Maguire's available for this game. It's not that I worry about Martinez or Yoro and Heaven as a partnership. I just worry about their inexperience. There's no doubt in their quality there. But yeah, as I said, the no cohesion, and that started from minute one, was not there. Shout out to Bruno and Casemiro and Yoro. They were 3 players who I thought actually stood out in the game. Everyone else was poor, and Le Mans actually to an extent. But if we're being honest, the large part of the performance wasn't great. Now the second thing, Ugarte, let's talk, man, because listen, as a football player, this is not a personal attack or anything like that on him. If we're just watching the 90 minutes of football that he played, yes, the second half was much different because he was defending well, but you just look at his passing, he's not great. Like, on the ball as a midfielder is like night and day between him and Mainoo. Like, Mainoo is a world-class player on the ball. Ugarte is just not that. If we're then looking at sort of passing, again, not great. We've seen Ugarte in games take shots. Like, he's just not good enough. And yes, he hasn't played in a while, but United definitely do need to replace him. And that was the game there. Like, it was trust. Obviously, I don't think Carrick had any other choice. He could have went Bruno deeper and put a Mount or an Mbeumo or whatever. I mean, that's what Gary Neville was crying for on commentary. But he just didn't go for it. And I get why he started Ugarte, but let's not see it again. As I said, Leeds bypassed that midfield many a times. And Ugarte and Casemiro's partnership never works. It never has done. It never will. Casemiro needs someone next to him who's decent on the ball. Got a bit of legs. And yes, Ugarte has legs, but he's just not good on the ball. So yeah, Ugarte for me is a sell, and that was evident in the game yesterday. Now, the third thing we learned is the Champions League race is getting uncomfortable. I watched Chelsea get absolutely dismantled by Man City in that second half. But if United play the way that we played against Leeds, against Chelsea, we'll get battered as well. It was nothing there. Yes, the second half we showed a bit, and that's because we went down to 10 men. We had to go for it. But if we play like that against Chelsea, as I said, we'll get cooked. We'll get absolutely dismantled. So it is key for Manchester United to get it right. That Champions League race, it looked fantastic if we would have won yesterday. We would have went 10 points clear of Chelsea ahead of that game. It would have relieved a bit of pressure. There would have been a bit more momentum. But that just didn't happen. And it's seriously getting uncomfortable. Liverpool, look, that game in 3 weeks or 2 weeks' time against United is massive for both teams. Chelsea next week's huge for Manchester United. Like, we just have to win. And I think the way that we're performing at the moment is, or not even at the moment, in that game was just very, very poor. And as I said, that Champions League race, if United don't get it, it'd be a criminal offence considering where we are. So yeah, and all the teams around us are picking up momentum. Brentford, Sunderland, Chelsea, Liverpool, they all look fairly decent. So yeah, that could be something that really is important. So United should have won, or needed to win yesterday. Not that we should have, we needed to. So that's the That's the third thing that we learned. Now, number 4, I want to talk about Michael Carrick, because there's been a lot of criticism on him. Now, as I said, I'm going to wait to the end of the season to make my decision on Michael Carrick. I think that's the only logical and right thing to do. I think we can be reactionary, because I could have very easily said after the Leeds, not the Leeds game, sorry, the Villa game, or the Spurs game, or the game against City and Arsenal, or any game really in which we won and had decent performances, give Carrick the job. But it's not that I knew the bad performances were behind the corner. I think you just have to give a big enough sample size to make a decision. And I think Carrick, as much as I respect him as a manager, and I think he's made huge progression in this United team, I think a general conclusion has to be made at the end. Now, as I said, he got it wrong yesterday. I think, listen, as I said, you can argue about his team selection, but again, he should have reacted early. I think Ugarte should have come off after the first 15 minutes. I would have got him off. It's not that we haven't seen players being taken off at half-time before, or before half-time. Look at Xerxes in that Newcastle game. His performance wasn't great. You would have took him off. And again, his just whole setup was just wrong. I think starting Dallo on the bench was the wrong decision. But ultimately, as I said, Carrick, we have to judge him at the end of the season. He did get it wrong yesterday, but there's still been a lot of positivity around him. And you look at that Leeds performance, Leeds were just up for every second ball. Even when they did have when it was 11v11, they always looked like they had an extra man. They were finding space. The wing backs were getting into the box. They were putting crosses in. They were a threat. And I think, yes, United defended well at times, but as a whole, I think Carrick is quite concerned, and he would be frustrated. Yes, as you can say, which the fifth and final thing I'll talk about is the refereeing. You can say the refereeing didn't go in United's favour, and it didn't, because all we asked for is consistency, and it was Paul Tierney who should have gave a red card for Kenny Tete against Semenyo when City played for them, didn't do it. Then you look at the game yesterday. Yes, okay, if it's a red card on Martinez, whatever the rule is, you give a red card, but all we ask for is the consistency. And what is Martinez supposed to do in the situation? Then you look at Euro getting an elbow. You can claim it, but I don't think that one's as clear. They're both jumping for the ball, but it was just a consistent poor refereeing decision, and we've seen it time and time again. He's an absolute, like, all the referees, just they need to take accountability. It's not good enough. That's multiple decisions now this season I can think of. 2 in the last 2 games that have gone against Manchester United. That can massively affect what happens going in to next season, and it's just incompetency. But listen, there have been your 5 things we learned. It was a game overall yesterday which I went in thinking United were going to win 3-1. And there wasn't nothing there. As fans, it's frustrating because you wait for this. A lot of people do. A lot of people went to the game. A lot of people wait for the game. And I was one of those waiting. I thought United, yes, come on, get in. They're going to do something. It's not customary, but it's 3 points. Leeds haven't won at Old Trafford in 40 plus years. United go to the game comfortable. But just from minute 1, you can tell there was that tension, that nervousness, whatever it was. It just wasn't settling to watch. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you on the next one.